Hello everybody and welcome back to the Hungry House Husband Show. Today I have for you a chocolate chip cheesecake with a brownie crust. Now for this cake, I don't use a box mix for the crust. I actually went and made brownies and just poured it into my springform pan. If you want to do it out of a box, that's completely your prerogative. I promise I won't tell anybody. But just for the sake of this exercise, know that the beginning of this video is me making the brownies. So to start off with our brownies, I take a microwave safe bowl, add the butter and the sugar, and heat it in the microwave for about a minute. Now you want to do this in about 15-second bursts, otherwise the butter will explode hot buttery sugar all over your microwave, so be warned. But do it in spurts and it will melt just fine. And once it's out of the microwave, give it a good stir. Just make sure that the butter and the sugar are well combined, and then it's into the mixing bowl. Now, one important thing I should have reiterated here is let this butter sugar mixture cool about 5 minutes before you put it in the bowl. The reason for that is we're going to be adding eggs here shortly, and we don't want it to cook them. So we'll go ahead and add our vanilla and our cocoa powder, and we're going to go ahead and get those spinning here, and just until they're incorporated. We're not looking for complete and total smoothness yet. We just need to get it mixed up so that it doesn't come flying back in our face or cause any huge lumps. So after it's been spinning about 30 seconds, go ahead and start adding in your eggs one at a time until they're completely incorporated. Once the last of your eggs is in and nice and incorporated, go ahead and shut the mixer off and let's go to the bowl. Now for our dry ingredients, we're going to mix the flour along with the baking soda, cornstarch, and salt, and just kind of whisk those around a little bit with a fork. Then we're going to start adding them to our wet ingredients. Now into the wet ingredients, we're going to add our flour slowly on a low speed until it's all incorporated, and just until it's incorporated. Now do remember to check for pockets of flour. Scrape down the sides of your bowl, then give it another quick run just to make sure that everything that you found is incorporated as well as it can be. Once that is done and you don't see any more flour in the batter itself, then go ahead and turn it off, and we will go and mix in the chocolate chips. So after I have added the chocolate chips, I'm also adding my chopped chocolate bar, and just fold all that in. Make sure that they get evenly distributed, and at that point go ahead and add it to the bottom of your springform pan. Now do remember to spray your pan before you put it in. I just gave mine a spritz with some coconut oil spray, and this doesn't have to be completely flat on top. Remember, there's going to be cheesecake sitting on top of this. We just want to smooth it out as best we can and make sure there are no air pockets. We're going to go ahead and put that into an oven at 325 for 20 to 30 minutes until the top is set. And here they are out of the oven. The top is set. I gave it a toothpick test and everything is great. Let it cool for about half an hour before we start the actual cheesecake. And now for the cheesecake. We are going to add our cream cheese that is room temperature and soft to the mixer and start beating on that. Now, We are going to also add our sugar and our vanilla at this point, and just get them nice and incorporated and looking nice and smooth. Once that's done, we're actually going to remove it to a bowl, and then we are going to start with the cream. And now, in a clean bowl with a whisk attachment this time, we are going to add in our cream, and we're going to start going at that until we get a nice whipped cream consistency. Some would call it almost a soft peak to a stiff peak, but not before you hit butter. So make it nice and thick, but not too thick, okay? So after about 5 minutes or so of whisking on a medium to medium-low speed, I have this. This is perfect. It's a lot like Cool Whip, just not as sugary. So go ahead and get that out, and we're going to start folding it into our cream cheese mixture. And as said before, here is our cream cheese mixture. And just get a little bit of whipped cream at a time. We're going to gently fold it in. Now we're using the whipped cream to make volume. It's very important that you don't just stir it in or squish it. You want to leave those little ribbons of pillowy creamness in the cake. That's what's going to make it stand up. It's going to give it that creamy texture, for lack of a better word. And once you get the last of that whipped cream in, go ahead and start adding in our chocolate chips. What's chocolate chip cheesecake without chocolate chips? So go ahead, just a little bit at a time, fold these in as well, and you will notice that they will become distributed pretty evenly, pretty quickly. So no need to rush. I mean, we're not in a hurry. We're not racing anybody. You will be rewarded by patience in pretty much all cooking that you do. So go ahead. Once those are in, we are going to go and put them on top of our now cooled brownie crust in our springform pan. And here is that brownie crust. Now, because this has no eggs in the actual cheesecake part itself, it is no bake. We don't have to cook it. It's not going anywhere except for the refrigerator. Spread it evenly over the brownie crust, and make sure that the brownie crust is very, very room temperature. Otherwise, it's going to melt everything that we just did, and that would not be good ease. So go ahead, spread it evenly. This is where smoothness on top kind of counts, so far as pretty goes. Just take your time with it. Get it as smooth as you possibly can. It doesn't have to be perfect. We're not looking for, a piece of glass here or anything that smooth, but make it look good. And this is what I ended up with. Not smooth as glass, but not rocky peaks either. Go ahead, put this in the fridge for the next 8 hours. So here we are, about 8 hours later. It has firmed up considerably. Go ahead and run your knife around the edge just to try and free up that brownie crust from the sides of the pan. Now, try not to manhandle it too badly, but it should let go pretty easy once you release. Now for the hard part of it. The hardest part of this entire thing is making sure that the brownie releases intact from the bottom of the pan. Now I just slid a knife in a couple of different places between the brownie and the bottom of the pan and kind of twisted a little. It pried it up pretty well. It's going to have set a lot from the refrigerator, but if you are careful and take your time, it should release with no problems. And here it is in its glory. One chocolate chip brownie crusted cheesecake. It was very, very rich tasting. I mean, I personally couldn't eat more than one piece at a time. My wife, on the other hand, had it for dessert for the rest of that week. The longer you leave it in the fridge, the harder the brownie crust is going to get. I did not take that into account, but it's true. So usually if it lasts to day 6 or so, it's still going to taste great, but you might chip a tooth on a brownie. Just telling you ahead of time. I'm going to have to work on that. If anybody out there has a way of keeping this fresh for a while, but the brownie nice and soft, let me know. I would love to get comments. Also, likes and subscribes help as well. But hope you enjoy this recipe, and until next time, may your life and your food always have flavor. Bye-bye.